Hi everyone. Is it? I'll just find clicker. Yeah. I was trying in the morning remember which movie did I choose as my favorite. It's a good thing that it didn't go with Saw 3. Good morning, everyone, and I know that it's hard after yesterday's party to digest any information, so I will try not to dig deep into technical details and just try to have some fun today. And once more, my name is Dennis, and I work for Reply as data analyst. I joined the team a year ago, and the main task that was on my desk was to start understanding how our advertising works, how we can attribute revenue to different advertising channels. And the second one was to build marketing and product dashboards for executive teams. And after discussion with an executive team, we decided that the best solution here would be, after discussing with executive teams, we decided that the best solution here would be building a data warehouse. Because all the data in the company was distributed in many channels. For example, most of the data on users and product was stored in Microsoft Azure. Website and web app sessions data and the most important traffic sources from different channels was stored in Google Analytics. Ad cost data, how much we spent on advertising, was stored in advertising platforms like Google AdWords, Facebook Ads, and AdRoll. Payments and subscriptions data was stored in ChargeBee. And customer data was also stored in ProsperWorks that changed its name to Copper since then. And as I told you, we decided to build our own data warehouse and collect all this data in one place. Requirements were pretty simple. It should be fast to build, fast to implement, because we didn't want to spend a lot of time on development, to spend development time on doing some internal stuff instead of improving the product. It should be cheap because we are not like a big enterprise and we don't want to spend a lot of money on data warehouse. And it should be reliable because we don't want to lose our data, of course. I think most of you are familiar with this diagram, that it's impossible to find an ideal solution for anything. But in our case, I think we did. And it was Google BigQuery. Because it's inexpensive, it's fast, and it's reliable. So it's like three best things you can ask from any product. So why exactly Google BigQuery? Initial setup actually takes minutes. If you have a Google account, you just sign up, and yes, you just have to add your credit card, but it won't charge you. And it just in a few minutes you will have your account and you can start working with data. It's really fast. I think maybe some of you saw Brad's presentation yesterday where he was going through terabytes of data in just 1 minute. And it's really possible with Google BigQuery. There's a lot of third-party integrations. So to set up your first pipeline, you can just find third-party integration and do it also in very short time. And the last one is very important for marketing and analytics, that you can just build dashboard from data in Google BigQuery just in few clicks. So all the data that you have in Google BigQuery, you can visualize it and analyze in Data Studio. And I will show you how it's done. And the last one is price. Actually, we have been working with BigQuery for a year, and we haven't paid for it yet. But don't tell Google, please. If your company is B2B or just a small startup and you don't have a lot of data to process into the store, it will be free for you as well. And even if you go above these limits, then it won't cost you a fortune, because it's for big enterprises, yeah, it might be costly, but for small companies, for startups, it's a very good way to start their data warehouse. And I will show you some examples of data and data warehouse. I wanted to show like live data, but you haven't signed NDA, so I will show you just. We'll play with some test data from BigQuery. Yeah, I think that many of you were enjoying great weather here in Lviv recently. But and those who came to Lviv from different countries or other cities, you want to come back. But you have to know when to come back here when the weather is nice. And Google BigQuery can help you with that. Of course, you can go to one of many weather websites and check up. Sorry, I don't have it here. Second, you can go to one of many weather websites and check the weather, but it would be too boring. As boring as trying to move it here. Yeah. Okay. So just, for example, there are like hundreds of test data sets in Google BigQuery. You can, after sign up, you can just take any of that and try to play with data and understand how it works. For example, this data set includes weather data from thousands of meteo stations around the world. And you can just find exact one or just limit some kind of territory and see how what weather was here or any period, or I think it's 300 years. It goes 300 years back. For example, we just, here we take, no, sorry, not, this one. Sorry, it doesn't work as expected. Yes. Okay, this one takes data from all meteo stations located in Lviv. This is Lviv coordinates. And check the data about weather here last 10 years. That's fine. And it takes maximum, minimum temperature, and rainfall. Okay. And as I told you before, it's really easy to export data in Data Studio in just a few clicks. Okay, just like. Just one click. Yeah, we change the diagram type. Once element and yep. Voila. Okay. Just do it once. Yeah, and now you can see what was temperature in Lviv in different months. And so we can just check, for example, May. Yeah, temperature is great because summer is too hot, but we have like a lot of rainfall in May here, usually. And September, we have similar temperatures, but rainfall is much lower. So I think if you decide to come to Lviv next year, you can go in September. And all of this was done like in you see in a few minutes using data from Google BigQuery, and you can do it for all your own data as well. Okay. And second, I want to go back to presentation. Yeah. So in our case, we had like 5 main data sources. It's Azure, Google Analytics, Cost Data, ChargeBee, and Copper, and we are going to put all of this data in Google BigQuery. To get data from ChargeBee and Copper, we used their APIs, and it was like pretty simple. To get data from Azure, it was kind of challenge. At first, we used Stitch. This is a third-party tool that supports both Azure and Google BigQuery, and it just replicate tables from Azure to BigQuery, and it was easy to set up and fast. And to get data from Google Analytics to BigQuery, we are using OSBI. Also, OSBI supports cost data export to Google Analytics and then exported to BigQuery. I'll talk a little bit more about our third-party tools that we used and keep using. OXBI this is a tool developed by a Ukrainian team, and I really like it. If you work with Google BigQuery and want to get data from Google Analytics, this is somewhere you can give it a try. Like any tool has its own pros and cons. The pros are fast setup. You can set it up like using Google Tag Manager in a few minutes. You just add a piece of code, submit it, and you're done. It collects raw sessions as Google Analytics actually see it. It intercepts the data Google Analytics sends to its servers. And so basically, in your Google BigQuery storage, you get what Google gets in their storages. It has retrospective user ID updates. For example, if a user signs up to your app today, it will go through the data for the last 30 days and see if this user from this browser visited your website at any of these days. And if he did, then it will add user ID data. So it's really easy to analyze data for your users, this user ID in the future. Because low price, low starting point, you can start using it for free for I think first 14 days, and then it will cost last $115 for if you have like I think less than the 100,000 users. If you have more, then it will be more expensive. And it has built-in attribution model. Those of you who work with marketing know what attribution is. This is how your sales attributed different traffic sources, different advertising campaigns. So how much money you spend on advertising and how much money you get from this for every dollar you spend on advertising. And of course, there are some cons. It's not always reliable. No, we didn't have we didn't lose our data once. We didn't have any critical issues, but sometimes a pipeline might stop working. You need to go and make some changes to it. Sometimes it just delays data. It's the second con. That sometimes there are lags with updates, so you can get your data not next day, but in 3-4 days, but it will all be there. And it might be pricey if you have more data. For example, the first plan costs $115, but then next one costs $1,400 if you have more than 100,000 users per month. And as of Stitch, it also was fast and easy to set up. This is was one of our main requirements for data warehouse, that it should be fast to set up and to give it a try. It's free for small data. They have free plan. If you don't have a lot of rows to replicate and you don't want to use some integrations. If you have one database and BigQuery, you can start using for free. It has very good settings. I really liked it, how it's done. You can take any table and select rows, not replicate all table, but just selected rows or selected tables from your database. And you can, it supports the table replication, so you won't need to rewrite all the data all the time. You can add just new rows to your data warehouse. But cons for Stitch, they were critical for us. First of all, it doesn't support date time timestamp field type. This field type is exclusive for Azure and Microsoft products, and it isn't supported by other products. So for some tables, it was critical as we couldn't get date data to our warehouse. Some integrations are only is a paid option. For example, if you want to get data from Intercom to your data warehouse, you have to be on a paid plan. And it has no data pre-aggregation. So you just have to get your table as it is in your, for example, database to BigQuery. You can't do some jobs on it, this data before replicating it. So this was iteration 1 of our data warehouse. And the main problems were limited data import from Azure because Stitch limitations, no data pre-aggregation, and there is no out-of-the-box solution to automate jobs in BigQuery. So if you want to make a dashboard, you need your data to be updated all the time. And you can't do it from out of the box in BigQuery. To solve these problems, we decided to create our own tool called BigQuery Manager. Yeah, we just didn't put much effort in naming here. What is BigQuery Manager? Basically, it's SQL query in Google BigQuery plus a config file that helps to understand the source of the data, schedule when it should be run, and rules. Plus, it's a simple Python script that handles everything. This is an example of config, and as you can see, there's a query name, query type. In this case, it's SQL replica. This is replica of our database in Azure. Schedule and how it will be proceed in BigQuery. Should it rewrite everything, or it could append data if you have big table, just want to add every day some more data to it. And destination, name of a table where it will be stored. And I just wanted to add some code because of the dev conference. So it's what's BigQuery Manager? It's just a tool that query data from Azure and BigQuery and saves it back to BigQuery. So as simple as that. And this is a scheme of our iteration 2 data warehouse. Basically, we just removed Stitch and added BigQuery Manager instead. And now it handles, works as pipeline, sort of pipeline for Azure and to get data from Azure and save it to Google BigQuery, and also works as automation tool to automate queries in Google BigQuery. Right now, this is we use these services for our iteration 2 data warehouse. Obviously, it's Google BigQuery where we store all our data. It's Ovox BI that we really like and we keep using it. We use it to get cost data from advertising systems to Google Analytics, and then all the data about sessions, hits, events, and advertising data and cost data from Analytics to Google BigQuery. And we also use our own BigQuery Manager to get data from Azure to BigQuery and to automate BigQuery jobs. And the most interesting thing that For all that, right now we pay just $115 per month, and all this money goes to OWASP. Because BigQuery is free for now, and BigQuery Manager, it's like our own development, and we don't pay it for it. Oh, it's spoiler. Yeah. These are like resources. I think organizers will share a presentation with you. If you want to start building your own data warehouse or to start working in BigQuery, you should go to Google, to Docs by Google. They have great documentation for everything, and you can like find all the answers there. And also, if you want to read about OWASP BI, you can just read on the website or contact them. They're really helpful and really answer all your questions and help you to set up everything. And thank you. Questions?